Hi there, I just wanted to show you guys a ripple Afghan I'm making for my niece. I'm not sure if anyone's done this pattern before. I got it off a website and I'm sorry but I can't remember which website it was, so I'm not claiming it's my own pattern, not by any stretch of the imagination. Now I'm using Neapolitan ice cream colours, so pink, brown and cream. So I'll put this over here for you guys to look at. It's quite a lovely pattern. This is going to be a big enough Afghan for a single bed. It's quite wide. Now I've gotten about a third of the way through it. I just wanted to show you guys how I do the pattern and how I do a colour change. So I do 4 rows in each colour, although along the way somewhere I've done 3 rows in cream. There it is. I mean, it's not overly noticeable, but I can notice it obviously. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of that, 1, 2, 3 rows of cream, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of pink. That's the only one I've stuffed up so far, but I like to think it makes it more personal. Anyway, so I'm finishing up with the brown. I've actually cut my end off because I just undid this small section to show you guys. It's basically, it's double crochet stitch. You do 2 double crochets at the height of the peak, and you do, 2 double crochets in each stitch at the top there, then you do 4 down, and then you do double crochet together. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it in the camera focus area, but it's not quite working. So that's 1 double crochet together, and I'm just working on the second. There we go. I'm using a 4mm hook. I think that's a G size for you American guys. And I'm using American stitch terms. So in Australia this would be called a treble crochet, but I call them double crochets because I can only read American patterns. I have to convert Australian patterns to American so I can understand them. I'm trying to whisper because my son's supposed to be going to bed right now. So I've done the 2 double crochets together, 2 of them, to make the valley of the ripple. And you do that all the way down. So now I've got to do my 4 ascending double crochets up to the next peak, which is actually the end. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you're probably thinking, where do I go from here? It's actually this little chain that you start with on the end of each row. So you go into the top chain, or into kind of the side top, and do 1, 2 double crochets into that. Then you're left with the tail in the end. Normally, if you were doing the end of the row to do the same colour, you would just chain up 3, turn it and start again. But I'm changing colour here, so I actually need to redo that last stitch. Because what I do is I yarn over, go through, pull through 2, and then I take my new colour. I like to do it from the centre pull. So I'm up to doing cream now. I give it a decent tail because I'm going to weave it in as I stitch. So now with my last 2 on, this is where you would pull through the last 2. That's where I pull through my new colour. I tighten off that brown end and I tighten up, if I can grab the right string, tighten up my cream end. So I tied them all in together. I usually do it neater than this, but it's hard to do it on camera. And then I chain up 1, 2, 3 to start my new row, and get my blanket, turn the entire thing around. It's getting quite heavy actually. It's going to cost me a fortune to post. Now Sorry, I'm bumping the camera with my hand. I take the tails and kind of match them up, which I'm trying to do, but I got false nails put on yesterday and I'm finding it difficult to work out what I'm doing, and I've chained up with the tail. That's why I'm finding this difficult. So just excuse my bumble for a minute. See, not perfect. Not that I claim that I am, just a human being who makes mistakes. 2, 3. Alright, now I can take my tails around the back. So I've got my 2 tails, my brown and my cream. And I start my new row. I'm finding this really difficult just with the camera in the way and the damn new nails. Once I get into a rhythm I'm usually fine though. So I kind of hold them across the line. Now to start, you've got the 3 chain, which counts as your first double crochet. So you yarn over and go into that first stitch there where the chain comes up from. So you go in there, making sure to crochet over the tail to hide it. Now I do it into double crochet into the next 4 down, because that's just starting where your normal peak would be for half of your peak, because you're only doing a half peak. So that's 2. I'm finding it really difficult to keep it in camera area, sorry. Just move up a little bit, that might help. So I've got my first 2, 1, 2, 3, and we do a 4th double crochet. Now we've come to our first valley, a little dip down. Now to do that we do our 2 crochet together stitch. And notice how I'm still incorporating the tail as I go. Don't know if you can tell, but it's coming along with me as I go, and it's getting woven into the back. And like I said, I do this for quite a while. I'm going to do it probably up to about the top of my next peak, so it's well and truly woven in and I don't have to do it at the end. I find if you do it as you go, it tends to be a bit stronger and stays better as well. Alright, so we do 2 double crochets together, and now the 4 ascending crochets, 2, 3, 4. Now it looks quite open weave as I'm doing it. It kind of bunches together a bit once you've done a few rows. I don't know why that is. I think it's once you go over to the top of it, you're kind of pulling the stitches together by going into them, if that makes any kind of sense, on top. Makes them more uniform. Okay, so we're at the peak now, the top part, little hill. So we do 2 double crochet into the top one there, first stitch. Now I'm going to drop my tail and not crochet over it anymore, because that's far enough. Damn nails. Okay, I'm usually a lot faster than this without the nails. 2 double crochet into that one, so that makes the peak for our next row as well. And then you just continue along all the way to the other end. Finish off with 2 double crochet into the end chain. You you chain stitch up 3, turn it and start again like I did there. I may take a picture of this when I'm done and put it on my page. If I remember before I send it. I'm supposed to have it done in 9 days and I'm working 7 out of the next 9 days. So I'll have to see how I go. It is quite large. I'll try and get a bit of a shot. Hang on, just let me... Oh, this is a little tip of mine. I weave my hook with the yarn through my projects to keep it lodged in there. If I'm going to leave my hook in there, that kind of secures it in there better than if you just kind of left it. I have a tendency of losing hooks, so this way I find that they don't get lost as often. And I'm just using a Carnival brand, which is an Australian brand. It's an 8-ply yarn, which I think is a lot different to the American yarns because it's quite thin. I've got some 4-ply red heart yarn from America, and it's like almost thicker than that, and this is our 8-ply. So I think it varies quite a lot over the different countries. Now, you can see it's not quite so long. Starts, that's the top, goes down to the bottom. It is quite wide. So we start here, we go across all the way to here, and it kind of ends there. So it's wide enough to go across a single child's bed and hang over the sides quite a bit as well, because I figured it's going to be a top blanket. It's going to go over a doona as kind of a decorative thing and a little bit of extra warmth in winter. Because where my sister lives with my niece, it gets quite cold in winter, so I figured it's going to need a little bit of extra length on the sides to hang down over the rest of the doona and to get to the sides of the bed. I probably could have made it a bit shorter width-wise in hindsight, but it is what it is. I haven't counted how many stitches it is. I should probably do that. I think it might be 150 to 200 long. Actually, it might be 200 to 250. I do baby cot blankets that are about 100, 120, and they're not quite that wide. So I'll have to count them and get back to you guys with that. That's enough of me crapping on. I'm going to go to bed. It's about 10 o'clock at night. I've got work tomorrow. So I am going to say adios, and I hope you liked my Ripple Afghan. If you've got any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm always here to answer questions when I'm not at work. I think it's a lovely blanket. The colours they just go really well together. Also, in hindsight, I was thinking maybe I should have used I have kind of used the brown to separate the pink and white, but maybe I could have gone pink, brown, white, brown, pink, brown, white, brown, done it that way. I would have had a lot more brown in it, but yeah, it's not a problem. I'm not using Carnival brand for the brown, just in case anyone's wondering. Just for the pink and the cream is Carnival brand. I'm having to match this pink every time I go to get a new ball of it, because I did buy quite a few to begin with, and the pinks are slightly different. I don't know if you can tell on cam, but that pink is actually a lot darker than that one. It's probably not showing up too well. This I've only got like three lines of the darker pink until we mix to the kind of lighter one, and I think I did half of a row with the darker pink before I had to change to the lighter. I think it's just the dye lots for the company that makes it, which is a bit of a pain because I would have liked it to all be exact, but again, it's just going to my niece and she'll be loving it anyway, so I'm not too concerned. But as you can see here, this is where I've crocheted my tail in, or I've had to change yarn, probably more likely, so it's right in the middle there. I don't know why I had to change it so often in that row. Maybe I made a mistake, but I'll go along and snip those off once I'm done with the blanket. I've done a few where I've snipped them off, so it's not so obvious that I've got yarn tails hanging around everywhere. But there's one where I've started a row and woven them in. I don't know why I didn't do a long enough brown tail. And I'm rambling on again about crap. There's a pink and a cream one. I've woven them in as I'm going. You can't even see the one where I did that really. You can see the cream a little bit and the pink a little. But it does really make a cleaner blanket if you just weave them in as you go. And I think they're a lot tougher in there. They're not going to come out no matter how many times it's washed or pulled or anything. So hopefully it'll last for her to pass it down to her children when she has them. Alrighty, again, any questions, comments, I would love to hear them. And I hope you guys enjoyed my ripple Afghan. I think it's very pretty. If I find the page where I got the pattern from, I will link you guys to it.